Hello, Stampin' friends. This is Dee Osburn. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and today we're going to be making a masculine card. I'm going to be using some retired product today, a few current products, to make this beautiful masculine card. And I've used the sentiment, "You mean the world to me." So this could be used for any number of occasions, pretty much anything. So let's get into it. We're going to be using some cinnamon cider cardstock, and it is cut at 8.5 by 5.5 and scored at 4.25. We're also going to be using crumb cake cardstock cut at 5.25 by 4. We're going to be using some very vanilla cardstock, and that is cut to 5 by 3.75. We're going to be using another piece of very vanilla, and this is cut at, this is a 1.5, a very vanilla piece of cardstock cut at 1.5 by 3. And we're also going to be using some retired designer series paper, the World of Good designer series paper, to cut out all of these circles. We will be using a piece of gold cord. You can get that pretty much anywhere. To cut out these elements, we'll be using the stitched rectangle, we'll be using a layering circle, and we'll be using a circle from the stitched shapes. Oops, a circle from the stitched shapes. All right. Let's see, what else? We will be using the Going Global retired stamp set. We'll be using this stamp and this one. That's where we'll stamp those images. We will also be using Beautiful World, and we'll be using these two stamps. And we'll be using the Stamp, Cut, and Emboss embossing folder Old World paper. We're going to be using Early Espresso ink. So let's get to it. Let's get going. This is a fun card to make. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our cinnamon cider, cut again at 8.5 by 5.5. We're going to fold it in half. All right. We're going to fold this in half. We're going to take our crumb cake paper, cut at 5.25 by 4. That's 5.25 by 4. And we're going to stamp these two images on it. So we're going to use the compass, or the compass rose, and we're going to ink it up with Early Espresso ink. And we will stamp in the corner here. Stamp it there. And we'll stamp it again. We'll ink it up just a little bit. And we'll stamp it kind of off the edge right here. And one more time, we'll stamp it down here off the edge, down at the bottom. Then we'll take this image. That is from the Beautiful World stamp set. We're going to ink that up. We're going to stamp it here. And we're going to stamp it again here. Then we'll take this piece and we're going to run it through the Big Shot using the Old World, is that what it's called? The Old World paper embossing folder. So let's go do that. Okay, so we've run it through the Big Shot using the Old World paper embossing folder. So now we're going to go ahead and adhere it to our cinnamon cider paper. Okay. Adhere that to our cinnamon cider paper using a little bit of the multi-purpose glue. That'll take just a second for it to stick. We can turn that over. Okay, then what we're going to do is we are going to put our circles on here. And we'll start with, we have 2 large circles and 4 small circles. So we're going to put this one, we're going to trim this one up at the top, but we're going to put this one down first. Okay, we'll put a little bit of glue on that. And we'll put this one down first. All right, then we'll put this one next. And that one will need to get trimmed, so let's go ahead and do that. So we'll just use our paper snips, and we'll just snip it right along the edge of, the crumb cake paper, and adhere that down. Next, we will use this blue piece and adhere that. I think I'll put the little gold pieces out to the side where we can see them real good. Then we'll use this one, a little map looking piece, a road map looking piece. That one's going to go here. Let's make sure we put it right side up. And put it right here. Then the other big one that we had. And remember, this is the old, what this paper was called, World of Goods Designer Series paper. And we'll put that one right there. And these last 2 will also get trimmed. So we'll glue that one. We'll put that one right here. We'll trim that one in just a second. And we'll put this one down. We'll just trim them both at the same time. And this one goes here. We'll just get our paper snips. And trim it along that crumb cake paper line. Just like that. Trim that one down just a tiny bit more. There we go. All right, so then once we have that all trimmed, we will stamp our smaller piece of Very Vanilla, and we will be using the You Mean the World to Me stamp from the You Mean the World to Me, and it's from the Going Global stamp set. It's a retired stamp set. So we're going to do that in Early Espresso. And once we have that stamped, then we will cut it out using the stitched rectangle die cut. So let's go do that. Okay, so I took this and I cut it out with the stitched rectangle. And now I'm going to take a sponge and I'm going to ink it up just a little bit. And I'm going to sponge the edges just to give it a little bit of dimension. And I'm just going around the edges and I am just sponging it. And then it looks like this when you're done. Gives it kind of that old world look, right? All right, so then I'm going to take my gold cord and I'm going to wrap it around my fingers like so. Now I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to use some glue dots to adhere this gold cord down, and then we'll put it on the card. Okay, so I've got my glue dots and I'm going to, I like using my paper snips, and I just take the little glue dot off of there and I stick it on there. And I'm going to use 2 of them. I'm going to get 2 glue dots. I'm going to put it on there. I don't know why my camera is adjusting so much. So I'm going to take this gold cord and I'll stick it down to this glue dot. And then I will stick it to this glue dot. See? Then I will take some Stampin' Dimensionals and I will put them on the back. I got stuck on my finger. And put that on the back, and I will adhere it to the front of my card. Isn't that a nice masculine card? I think men would really like that. I know my husband likes to travel, and I know he would love this card. Now the last thing that we're going to do is we're gonna step up the inside just a little bit. This is what the inside of the card looks like. So what I did was I took my 5 1/4 by 4 crumb cake and I adhered, I took my very vanilla at 5 by 3 3/4. I sponged the edge and stamped this on there. So let's do that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp on my corner here with the stand, and I want to stamp off. I don't want it that dark on my inside, so stamped off, and I kind of want it to go off the edge just a little bit. So I'm going to put it right there, and then I'm going to use the world that we used before, and I'm going to ink it up, and I'm going to stamp it off. So like I said, I don't want it to be that dark. I'm going to kind of, the earth is on its axis. It's not just straight up and down, right? So we're just going to stamp that onto that stand. Then we're going to take our sponge again, and we're going to sponge those edges, give it that old look, old world look. Kind of like it came from, the Age of Discovery time period, right? All right, so then we're going to adhere this to our crumb cake, which is 5 1/4 by 4. So let's do that. Okay. Make sure we put it in there right side up, right? Okay, we're going to adhere that. Then we're going to adhere it to the inside of our card. And there's all kinds of great men gifts that you can give to go along with this card. They have some really nice suede Crocs online, and I can put a link to that down below. My husband loves those. And also, like some Sperry topsiders might be a good gift. I shy away from ties unless you have a man who wears a tie all the time. Then a tie is a great idea. But here's our card. You mean the world to me. This could go for anything. Anniversary, birthday, just any old time. If he's traveling, this would be a great travel card. Stick it in his suitcase. Let him know that you're thinking about him while he's gone. So if you liked this video, if you wouldn't mind clicking the like button, maybe leave me a comment. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. I will have a link down below to all the product that I used that is current. And then I will list the retired products. There won't be a link, but I can list what I used. And until next time, thanks so much.